reborn star. Before her rebirth, Fujin was the youngest daughter in the family, a girl raised in a golden nest with slender fingers and skin like gelatin. Anyone who meets her must say that she is a flower of wealth in the world. This wealthy peanut lives in a rich and powerful family with a very high status, and his manners and appearance are excellent. After being reborn, Fujin became a poor little man who had just been kicked out of his home in the interstellar world. He wanted money, but had nowhere to go. He was still wearing clothes that were a little messy from being pushed and was holding crumpled paper in his hands. Fujin unfolded the waste paper that he subconsciously wanted to throw away and found that there were 3 ownership deeds rolled inside the colorful and strange-looking paper outside. The content on the paper was barely understandable, but almost all the words on it were missing arms and legs. It was very difficult for Fujin to understand the meaning of the large text. When Fujin started to think about why he appeared here, the memory of the original owner of the body poured out like a floodgate. Fujin accepted the memory of the original owner quickly, and after just a moment of trance, he knew what kind of situation he was in now. Her name is still Fujin. She is the eldest daughter of the Fu family in this world, but unlike her, who is doted on by her family, this Fujin has just been kicked out of the family. The family issued an official document and went through the process of severing relations with Fujin. They even spent a lot of money to buy a page of the Planet newspaper to publicize their preferential treatment of the daughter adopted by the former patriarch. There was a page on the paper that Fujin was reading with difficulty that talked about this matter. A luxury home with an estate? The image of a villa covering hundreds of acres of land with mountains, water, and tea gardens appeared in his mind, and Fujin nodded with satisfaction. Such a zhuangzi is worth a lot of money, and it is indeed a preferential treatment. Zhuangzi is a piece of property that cannot be moved away. Standing there indicates the status and power of the owner. The price cannot be lowered. No matter which world it is in, it will be a very valuable existence. Fujin looked at the deeds that were still crumpled after being unfolded and found that one of them contained the ownership of a house. He decided to make this manor his home. Fujin found a small stone pier to sit under the landscape bridge where he was and called out the smart butler of his personal terminal according to the usage method in his memory. "Little master, I'm here. Do you need any help? Please help me check the location of Manor number 25 in Area Z." It is called Manor number 25 because this manor is located in land number 25 and currently belongs to Fujin. It has not yet been officially named. There is no manor in Area Z25. It is an abandoned area. Plants cannot grow in Area Z. The smart housekeeper explained in a gentle tone, without any doubts about the questions raised by Fujin. "Do you need to see the real-time view?" Fujin nodded slightly, not noticing that such a slight movement of his would not be noticed by an ordinary smart butler. The butler, who appears in the form of a projection of a personal terminal and is composed of light blue light, looks very much like the old butler when Fujin was still in his own world. The old housekeeper likes to wear dark clothes. He can take care of the property and manage the affairs of the house. It can be described as omnipotent. Fujin was very close to the old butler, so he didn't feel repulsed when he saw the shadowy butler, who looked like an elegant old gentleman in a formal suit. The real-time picture with color also appeared in front of Fujin in the form of projection. Fujin, who was impressed by the technology of this world, was eager to flex his muscles in this world and become the richest man. The scene switched from the most prosperous Area S, where the imperial capital is located, to Area A after that. Because although the real-time picture is open to all citizens of the empire, different permission levels will have different operating permissions. Nobles can directly switch the picture of the area they want to view after the selected picture of S area appears. Without his noble status, Fujin could only wait slowly for the real-time picture to switch from area to area. This is for the residents of the later districts to be attracted by the prosperity of the high-end districts and then work hard to become residents of the former districts. It is also a small means to promote economic development and attract talents to gather in the central area. When switching to Area Z, the scene slowly began to lock onto land number 25. As the scene moved in from the outside of number 25, Fujin could only see that there was no grass growing here, and there were a few piles of garbage scattered in the outer area. Didn't you say it was a house with a manor? Fujin's confusion was very real. The housekeeper explained patiently, place number 25 is the birthplace of the Fujia. Because of the master's hard work over the years, the Fujia has become a second-rate family in Area B. All members of the Fujia family have gone to Area B, which has better resources and environment. Although the master later hired people to repair it, the house over there was inevitably abandoned. Young master, do you have any questions? Fujin nodded, sitting in the same posture as the daughter of the Fu family, who could not fault anything in terms of appearance and etiquette. Grandpa Butler, let's check the location of the shop. Fujin now also knows the ranking of each district. There are 26 main districts on this planet, among which there are 6 large main districts. These 6 main districts are dominated by the S district, where the imperial capital is located. The planet does not only have 26 areas, but all areas except the first 25 areas are divided into Z areas. Unlike other areas, Z area is a whole place. It is composed of many pieces of land, and each piece of land is numbered. The piece of land Fujin got was land number 25. At this time, the real-time picture had fully displayed the small, dilapidated building in the center of number 25. A spider as big as a basketball majestically passed over the wall, and the picture suddenly paused here. Fujin had never seen such a big spider before. It was her limit without screaming. In fact, Fujin's expression didn't change much, but her dilated pupils slowly returned to normal as her mind calmed down, and the change in her expression was not obvious. The housekeeper who received the notice of impending arrears has not experienced the feeling of insufficient balance in the bound account for a long time. After checking the balance of young Master Fujin's account, the housekeeper saw the 3-digit balance in it and almost thought that Fujin had been treated harshly by the Fu family before being severed from the Fu family. Fortunately, the housekeeper himself was responsible for regular transfers to Fujin's account before and retrieved the account's fund details. I couldn't keep calm after seeing a huge transfer that happened just 2 days ago. What did the young master buy 2 days ago? Can she spend her 17 years of huge pocket money and dividends, as well as her father's many years of private money together? The housekeeper, who has worked hard for many years with a former head of the Fujia family, has seen big storms and has handled many large transfers. However, what Fujin spent in one go was enough wealth to buy a second-level planet. The housekeeper needs to know what Fujin did before he bound Fujin's account. This cannot be said to be a prodigal. It can only be said to be too spendthrift. Chapter 2, a bit of a waste. 2 days ago, Fu Jinshin gradually calmed down, and after hearing the butler's question, he also began to think about it. 2 days ago, the original Fujin spent a lot of money 2 days ago. What are you spending this money on? It seems like I bought something. I bought a planet 2 days ago. Fujin felt relieved after thinking about this. A planet, this is a wealth that ordinary people cannot obtain. It seems that as a planet master, you can have many privileges, such as establishing your own small country. Thinking of the emperor, who had become bald at a young age because of his stewardship of the Qian kingdom, Fujin shook his head decisively. How can you have such dangerous thoughts? The housekeeper asked Fujin for permission and checked the specific transaction details of the order 2 days ago. When he saw the number of the planet that was bought, he thought, maybe this is fate. Planet HX250 is a planet that is about to fall out of the third-class planet level and has been exhausted of energy. The Fu family had previously purchased the 20-year mining rights to this planet, and it was calculated that it would indeed expire this year. As early as 5 or 6 years ago, the resources on the HX250 planet were exploited to the point of exhaustion. Although the resources on it were abundant, most of them were plant resources. After resource mining, the ecological environment of the entire planet was destroyed, and all other valuable mineral deposits on the surface were mined nonstop. This kind of eating appearance is actually ugly, but it is normal for a family that is not an established wealthy family to do such a thing, and it will not be publicly criticized by other families of the same level. The owner of the planet didn't care about this and kept silent. When the Fujia's mining rights expired, he continued to hang up the planet for sale as if it had been resurrected. At the same time, he captured all the people sent by the Fujia who stayed on the planet and stuffed them into a transport ship transporting space junk. They packed them up and threw them back to the Fujia's port in Area B. If the HX250 planet is still the same plant resource star as before, even the ceiling price of selling the second-level planet is reasonable. Now this one, forget it as long as the little master likes it. The master once bought 20 years of mining rights and a permanent residence certificate from the planet owner of the HX250 planet at a high price. Now that all the people in the Fu family have withdrawn from the planet that was once green, I wonder what kind of planet is left to Fujin. Spend what you want, not spend money indiscriminately. It's just that the 3-digit account balance may not survive this month. The housekeeper was a little worried. He is just a smart butler who can only assist the account owner in managing funds and cannot use the funds himself for investment or other similar economic activities. All financial transactions require the permission of the account owner. Forget it. I'll be able to barely make ends meet by debiting some money from the Fu family's account when the time comes. After changing the binding terminal, the housekeeper no longer has the authority to manage affairs in Fujia, but Fujia's smart financial management system is his subsystem. If there is a secret operation, the housekeeper quietly transferred a small amount of funds from Fujia's capital chain and paid an extra fee to hire a team of robots specialized in house repairs to go to number 25, Zone Z, to carry out basic repairs and maintenance to ensure that Fujin's residence would be clean and tidy, with water, electricity, and infrastructure available when Fujin wanted to go there. He is a housekeeper, and these trivial matters should not bother the owner of the house. My young master, the location of the shop is pretty good. Do you want to go and have a look? The housekeeper asked after entering the address of the shop. I just wanted to ask how to get to that shop. Fujin smiled, stood up, and smoothed the wrinkles of his complicated clothes. After tidying up her clothes, Fujin raised her head slightly, without any domineering aura, and her standing posture was more dignified and elegant than before when Fujin was protected and pampered by the head of the Fu family. The housekeeper was very pleased, but also felt that it was a waste of money for the Fujia gang to occupy good resources. My little master's shop is located on the number 2 commercial street in the central business district of District S. To go to the store location from my current location, it is recommended to use a personal terminal to log in to the Star Network to reserve a floating car to pick you up. Fujin wanted to ask the butler to help with this matter, but finally remembered that the smart butler could not withdraw the amount in the account within 10 days after changing the binding owner. Because there is no permission. Fujin, who looked calm on the outside but was in an uncontrollable panic on the inside, groped for how to use his personal terminal and successfully booked a floating car outside the establishment. The housekeeper was worried that Fujin would not be used to it as she had never ridden in such a hover car before. He told her that the capital city of the empire was still under construction and that there were more hover cars outside the establishment, most of which could be picked up along the way. The StarNet intelligence brain would perform positioning and tracking throughout the journey, ensuring safety. It's just that most of the smart butlers in the floating cars outside the system have their own personalities, and talkativeness can be said to be a common feature, as long as the passengers are willing to chat with the smart butlers. We had a great time chatting, and it was within the purview of the smart butler to directly waive fares for passengers. Fujin nodded, indicating that he understood. She didn't like the coachman being too talkative, and hoped that the smart butler of the hover car she had reserved was not a talkative one. The housekeeper, who was not sure whether he had expressed the central meaning clearly, recalled what he had said and made sure that he had finished speaking the key points that needed to be said. when the hover car, which seemed to be a luxury car, slowly landed on an open space near Fujin. The housekeeper was still confirming for Fujin whether the information on the hover car was completely consistent with the information displayed on the Star Network. When Fujin walked to the car, the door of the back seat of the floating car just opened. She sat down holding her skirt. For the first time, Fujin felt that there was something wrong with her etiquette. There was a little red on her face. "Are you Miss Fujin, the passenger going to Area S?" A soft girl's voice sounded. This voice is very similar to Fuli, the first class maid next to Fujin. She is tall and decisive in her work, but her voice is delicate and soft, which can be very confusing. "It's me." He sighed in his heart, and after trying his best to smooth out the crumpled paper, Fujin sat upright on the soft seat. The passengers have been picked up, and the driver can drive to the destination along the planned route. Drivers, please remember, there are thousands of roads. Safety comes first. Irregular driving makes loved ones burst into tears. Shut up. The clear male voice had a mechanical feel, but it could not hide the fact that there was someone sitting in the driver's seat in front. The housekeeper, who doubted himself whether he had Alzheimer's disease, a disease that has disappeared from the human genetic map, could not figure out how he could have ignored that when riding in a non-systematic suspension vehicle, he was likely to encounter the owner of the suspension vehicle himself as the driver. Fujin didn't care that there was a sudden extra person in the car. When she travels, she will always be accompanied by several highly skilled bodyguards. After all, Fujin was the richest man in the Qian kingdom. She was recognized by the emperor and could not be raised by others. There were always people who were concerned about her family wealth. Fujin, who loved money, naturally could not let people get what they wanted. Chapter 3, Go to the Shop. Fujin is famous for her love of money and her ability in business. In her world, almost no one knows the meaning of the word Fujin. Although he now owns a planet, Fujin still misses the industries he has built little by little. A bank, a garden full of flowers, a restaurant that opened all over Qiangua, and some small businesses that were relatively profitable. Before coming to this world and becoming Fujin here, Fujin's subordinates discovered a large amount of high-quality ore in a mountain range on the outskirts of Beijing, which can be smelted into a lot of metals, which can fully supply the army's daily training and armament needs. Thinking about it, it was probably because he discovered that mineral vein that he attracted those who had been jealous of him for a long time and decided to put her Fujin to death at all costs. Fu Jinyuan also thought that he would definitely die. But she woke up in a strange world, in the body of a woman with the same name. Does this count as seizing one's body? Fujin doesn't know. Responding seriously to every word put forward by the girl's smart butler, Fujin always maintained a soft smile on his face, with a shallow arc, neither too close nor deliberately distant. The hover car traveled very fast, and there were no bumps along the way. Before arriving at the destination, the smart butler had already added Fujin as a friend on the personal terminal and gave Fujin a familiar name to express his closeness. Jin, why is your terminal smart butler such a staid old man? The butler, known as the old-fashioned old man, said nothing and silently memorized the number of the young smart butler. The destination has been reached. Jin should watch his step. I hope we can meet again when we return. From now on, Jin will ride on this hover car and all the hover cars under my control for free. Fujin smiled and didn't take these words to heart. After responding, he thanked the owner of the vehicle in the driver's seat. Jin is so cute, I like her so much. Did the driver hear you? Pilot, please answer. The man in the driver's seat spoke helplessly. This time it was not the mechanical sound that Fujin had heard before. What did you hear? When you encounter Jin on the road from now on, you must stop and take Jin with you. You can take Jin wherever he goes. Okay, I'll listen to you. That said, the possibility of encountering him in the future is like finding a needle in a haystack. It's such a big planet, and he doesn't stay on this planet often. The possibility of meeting today's passenger again is not too small. The smart butler, who stopped talking after getting a satisfactory answer, looked reluctantly in the direction Fu Jin left. The figure of a girl with twin tails appeared in the back seat. It was just a projection, but she looked no different from a real person. Let's go. There are still things to do today. Let's go. The sunshine in Zone S is a bit dazzling, but the temperature is not scorching. Fujin opened his small umbrella and walked slowly along the route pointed by the housekeeper. With the experience of that house in mind, Fujin didn't have much expectations for this shop located in the commercial district of District S. When they were approaching the place, Fujin didn't feel anything bad. Although the shops were located at the end of this commercial street, this was a business district and the specific street end didn't matter. Some shops are not suitable for opening in places with the largest flow of people. Fujin plans to make plans after seeing the shops. She likes to do business, and everyone thinks that she has a talent for doing business and is an extraordinary talent in this field. Only Fujin herself knew how she had such a good talent. It was just that God had given her some care. Fujin can always find business opportunities. If he happens to have funds, someone is willing to help. If he needs a shop, if he needs manpower, someone will recommend himself. If there is not enough money, he will have family support. If someone makes trouble, his brother will solve it. Therefore, Fujin spends most of her time discovering business opportunities or thinking of ideas to improve certain existing business models. The specific implementation and operation are carried out by her people. Hopefully here my luck is still there. After cheering herself up in a comforting way, Fujin knew that she was far inferior to herself when she was still the eldest daughter of the Fu family. As the eldest daughter of the Fu family, Fujin has power, status, money, and connections. She lacks nothing. Even if she does nothing, she can enjoy boundless wealth and endless pampering. The time, place, and people are favorable, and everything is taken advantage of. As a down-and-out young lady who had been disowned by her family, Fujin had nothing, just a small dilapidated building, a shop that couldn't really make money, and a piece of land. Although it's not like everything is lost, it can't be said that it's not easy to really get started. Fujin was holding 3 ownership deeds representing all her existing property in her hands, and she was not too disappointed. She has now become the supporter of the interstellar world, and all she has to do is continue to achieve her goals. She was the richest man in the Qian kingdom before, so her goal here is to become the richest man in the world. Fujin is not worried about whether she can adapt well to this strange world. She just hopes that her family in the other world will be well. She has become the Fujin of this world, so will the original Fujin become the Fujin of her own world? This question was beyond the scope of Fujin's knowledge reserve. The question only flashed through Fujin's mind and did not occupy Fujin's entire mind at the moment. This is it. The butler did not appear next to Fujin in the form of a projection, and his voice was heard by Fujin through the chip implanted in every interstellar citizen with identity information loaded. Fujin stood in front of the shop he took over, looking at the closed door. He didn't know whether to go closer and knock on the door or think of other ways to open the door. Stand in front of the door and wait for the smartphone in the store to confirm the identity of the young master, and then the door will open, the butler said in a timely manner. There were several steps in front of the shop. Fujin held up her skirt with one hand and held an umbrella with the other. She didn't stop until she reached the area the housekeeper mentioned. She closed her umbrella and stood up straight, with a smile on her lips and a smile on her eyes. The identity information has been confirmed and the store transfer has been established. Welcome to your arrival. The voice of the smart butler in the store was a little childish. Fujin watched the wooden door in front of him slowly open, and a red carpet was spread in the middle, as if a welcome ceremony was specially prepared for her. When he stepped into the shop, which seemed not bright enough, Fujin turned around with some feeling and saw a shop and business across the street. The owner of the shop was sitting among a pile of paper products without taking his eyes back. There was no malice in this look, and Fujin didn't feel any discomfort during the inspection. Fujin nodded slightly, and after a while, he turned around and walked into the shop. Seeing that the long-closed shop opposite ushered in its new owner for almost 2 months, the owner of the paper-making shop smiled. When he saw the black wooden door slowly closing after Fujin walked in, his eyes darkened slightly. I'd better advise this girl, who is cheated to move out of the store as soon as possible. Chapter 4 Little Gay is cute. The lights here are a little dark. Can they be made brighter?